right, Bitcoin accumulation country. It's that time of the week again. Time to sit back and listen to the Fun with Bitcoin podcast. I'm your host, Phil, and we are in season 3, and this is a fitting episode 23. So, got a really interesting fellow Bitcoiner that I'm talking with today, a gentleman by the name of Max, who I think has one of the most interesting rabbit hole stories that I've ever heard. And Max is definitely an out there guy that I got cosmic with, and I think that you guys are really going to appreciate his perspective, his experience, and also his vision. So I know this all sounds great, but before we get into that, we are going to talk about dollar cost averaging and Swan Bitcoin.
For anybody who is interested in dollar cost averaging and who wants to be purchasing Bitcoin but doesn't want to be spending their time constantly watching the charts and listening to traders that they really have no idea whether these people are credible or not, and you kind of just want to put this in a passive sleep mode where you're simply just accumulating and hodling, being able to transfer that Bitcoin out to your own private address. So if you're interested in doing that and that falls in your wheelhouse, then you are looking for Swan Bitcoin. With Swan Bitcoin, the 3 main takeaways are we can do automatic withdrawal from a bank account, automatic purchases of BTC. You can time them based on your when you receive your check. You can do it let's say once you can do it once a month, or you can do it per pay period as well. There's lots of options for you to be able to customize how you purchase. And you could automatically withdraw to your chosen address. So if you're interested in a Bitcoin-only platform that is doing the great work of helping onboard people, then you definitely want to check out Swan Bitcoin. I'm going to have the link to their website in the show notes.
So here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Here is my interview with Max. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Fun with Bitcoin podcast. I've got with me fellow Bitcoiner and 3D enthusiast, Max. And Max and I'm not sure if we met on Twitter or a Telegram chat or something like that, but we definitely hit it off. And, at one point, you decided to want to come on and tell your rabbit hole story, and I love the stories, and I love always finding the thinker behind the thought. So I'm super glad that you decided to come on to my show, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on. I'm honored to be on here.
Cool. This is gonna be fun, man. This is gonna be fun. So look, you kind of teased me with some basic information here about your rabbit hole story. All right, so let's kick it off with that. How did before Bitcoin, and how did you get into this, and why are we here?
Yeah, that's my kind of my basic rabbit hole story. Kind of goes down to I've always been fascinated with money, always throughout my entire life. Both family members are entrepreneurs, we're all business people, but I've always been fascinated why we use the currency in between, to transact. Kind of fast forward, I didn't really want to go to college, but just for the whole social consciousness at that time, everybody kind of forced you to go to school in that way, to be a part of the crowd. So just kind of pushed my way through, went to university, but because I didn't want to be there, I was just in such a down and depressed kind of mood that it wasn't for me, but I was still there. So it really was such a really low point in my life as a freshman in college. So always being curious about money and always being curious about kind of internet related things, tech as always. Somehow magically in, I don't know, maybe January or February of 2012, I found my way onto the Silk Road through Tor and all that good stuff. Shout out to all the Bitcoiners from 2012 like that. And you're just on there and you're going, what in the hell is this Bitcoin stuff? So because I'm more curious about money than everything other illicit that was being sold on there at that time. kind of delved down the rabbit hole back then, but only very lightly skimmed the surface. Somehow I made my way to the white paper, and I'm just skimming through it. Again, I'm such in a low and depressed state that you're just not thinking straight. And my summary of the white paper was okay, so the supply, so there's 21 million Bitcoin the supply is going to have every 4 years. It's February 2012. Whatever, I'll just buy some in 2016 when, it kind of balances out, so long as the network stays the same. How stupid, right? Watching that go from, $31 down to $1 in 2011, and then going from $5 to $1,000, 18 months later. Oh, I just felt so salty for myself. But kind of after that, sometime around February or March of 2012, because I've always been fascinated with money, I just found it such a joy and frankly, I found it so funny as a laughter to just print my own money. I would just go and cut my grass, and I would take the $100 bills that I would have, and I would just slap it on the printer, and I just watch that sucker roll on out. Like, oh, look at all this money that you're printing, right? So because such a negative and depressed state that I was in, I made the horrendous and stupid decision to actually go and counterfeit several $100s of money and pass it along. Okay. So, and even when I actually did that, sometime middle of 2012 or something like that. So I've already, like most people, we don't really think about Bitcoin when we first come across it. Oh, it's probably some fake internet money. You pass it along. So I'm the idiot, and I choose to go and print and essentially counterfeit US currency. Looking back, I was kind of adding to the stimulus, right? What they were doing, but obviously somebody's going to find out eventually, and you get that knock on the door, and sure as shit, it's the Secret Service. So that entire experience from so obviously I go through that whole system and go through the whole process. Never was convicted in that way. I don't really want to get into the details on that, but since that day, and sometime in the summer of 2012, it just mentally screwed me up so bad, because of knowing full well of the feds are watching you, and they have a laser focus on you, basically saying, well, right there, you're in the system at that point. So you can't leave the state. You can't, you got to go and check in with your PO officer. So the whole process, how old was I? I was 19. I was 19 years old. So I was young enough to do stupid things, but I was old enough to, get charged with big boy, time, right?
Yeah.
So that entire process, I don't think it actually ended until about 2000. Till the end of 2014. I kind of pissed off the feds in between there, so that kind of extended a few things. It was a very challenging time for me because of it's personally my own stupidity and choice for that. But what it taught me was, it's clear as day as a memory. My mother told me after my lawyer is sitting there, my parents are around, and the Secret Service are across the table. They're obviously going through your whole house. They take all of your stuff, go through all that. After they all leave, basically my mom said, "You broke the trust of the system. The money is the only thing that holds our system together, and the trust. That's it." And it just hit me. I go, wow, how bad did I screw up? But I knew why I screwed up, because I should not have followed the crowd and went to university. I should have went and did what I wanted to do, And I should not have been drinking so much. And go down the list of all the things that the negative thoughts kind of spur on for you from there. And yeah, that was a very painful 2 years or so. And then obviously to watch Bitcoin skyrocket like that, it's like, oh, man, I missed out. But kind of the silver lining for me is there for Bitcoin. I probably would have, still had, my, some coins on Mount Gox or something, or I would have had, it sitting on my laptop and the feds would have taken the laptop anyway, and, go down the list. So it, shit happens, right? But it was just a wild, painful experience, to go through and be in that system like that. So and again, this is why I haven't really. Well, this is why I'm actually so quiet, on Twitter and on Telegram and stuff like that. Yeah, man, it just mentally screwed you up.
I totally appreciate you sharing, because that is a serious freaking story, and I just want to add a couple of things, because I write notes, right, while you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so the government obviously doesn't want any competition in the business of counterfeiting. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're the only ones producing something out of purely nothing. So it's like, so you're not allowed to do that.
Exactly.
So I get what your mother said to you about breaking the trust, but I think that the idea behind it, right? And again, I'm not trying to justify, what you did. I personally don't see anything wrong with it, because I think that what the government does is horrendous, and what the Federal Reserve stands for is total fucking garbage. So I obviously, I'm a little bit more biased to your plight, but what she explained about the trust is it really what she did is she exposed just how fragile and how it's built on sand.
Yes.
And
again, like I said earlier, come on, guys. I was just trying to help stimulate everything. We're at 0% interest rates. You fuckers are printing $400-500 billion. Come on. Why can't you, why can't we get a little bit more stimulus? Did you get your $1,200, right? You go and spend that,
it's kind of funny, right? Because I was thinking about, as you were saying that, I was also thinking about, and you might appreciate this for the 3D printing aspect, but so imagine every single household, in the future one day is allowed to just print the money that they can spend that day. You know what I mean? It's like something retarded like that, It's like, so this is what you have. You live in this area, you do this type of work. This is the amount of currency you're allowed to spend a day. And,
yes.
Some stupid dystopian future.
Yeah. No. I think you're onto something though, because again, going into what money purchases for you are things of value. Okay, just a little trinket, stuff like this, that we all 3D print, a little miscellaneous stuff. But when I go and give my time, right, for money, I go and buy something of value, whether that's something that I'm going to wear, or I go and buy a phone. Eventually, I think you're on the right path. Eventually, we're going to reach a point where there's going to have to be money, and the money is going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be on a Bitcoin standard. There's going to be many layers above that. We all get that as Bitcoiners, but you will not have to go and purchase those things of a good or a service with your time. You will be able to essentially manifest what you need locally, whether that's on your own machine, or maybe some AI is going to do a service for you that you're going to trade something of value for that. But yeah, I think you're on the right thought with that eventually somehow you're going to reach a point where you really don't need money as a medium, as a transfer of value in the traditional sense. You're going to be able to manifest that locally. So it's going to be a wild future.
And to your point, right? Like we're going and we're trading our time. So, they go and they create something out of completely nothing, right? And then we go and provide quote unquote proof of work for that nothing.
Bingo.
I mean, it's like, talk about serfdom. Like that is just fucked. So I wanted to ask you though, you to go back to your rabbit hole story, because you mentioned that you found the Bitcoin white paper, but I don't recall. Do you have a technical background?
No. So, I kind of fast forward just to summarize the hard stuff, but um, I don't really have a technical background. Again, my family always kind of pushed me. Oh man, what was the thing that I never did, but I always want. Oh, you remember BattleBots?
Oh yeah,
You remember?
of course.
It was like they're like, Max, just go and start building the BattleBots and stuff like that. Because it's all robots and you playing with your Arduinos and you got step remote, all that good stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's kind of for the nerds. I'm just gonna go hang out so I can go pick up chicks and go drive and all that. Sorry, I like my women. I mean,
it's okay.
But again, I feel so naturally gravitating towards that technological process. Whether it's robotics, 3D printing, AIs, go down the whole list. But no, I don't have a technical background. I would consider myself more in the like, I never pronounce this right, but like the autodidact kind of people where you just learn on your own, whatever is curious about, following your nose and thus diving as far deep as you possibly can into that. And I think, just from my personal experience, the farther away you are from being maybe in like the technical aspect of something, but yet you either throw yourself into it or you are kind of pushed in that direction. Some very creative things come out of that because you're not from that field.
Yeah.
So you can look at it from a different perspective. So I feel very blessed and gifted that I just can't believe that I'm still here. I should be dead or 6 feet under or in a federal pen for however long. But being able to kind of add my life experiences into a different field that I'm not from, I think I can add a lot of new creative value to that. So no, I have no technical background. I'm more interested in the finance kind of side. Yeah.
So how did because I'm always fascinated because I noticed like the white paper's a bit of both, right? It's like it's obviously it's about financials and everything like that. It's about peer-to-peer money, but then there's also technicals, explaining how it works. So yeah. I guess do you remember maybe like when you read it, like did it hit you, or was it one of those things where you read it and it was like, what the fuck did I just read?
Well, like what I wrote, again, what I kind of wrote down and just very briefly sent to you, again, just to summarize, Cornelius, I have no fucking clue how I grasped. I was so drunk. I was eating so much fast food, driving intoxicated to Burger King or Wendy's or something, and then coming back. I have no clue how I wrapped my mind around the fact, skimming through the white paper and saying, oh yeah, there's a limited cap. There's 50 Bitcoin per block, about every 10 minutes, whatever. It's gonna, the halving was the very first, going into our second epoch, was sometime around June of 2012. I can't remember the exact date, but I thought to myself, I don't really want to waste my computer power to mine and all that stuff. I'm gonna miss out on it. It's fine, I'm so late, like everybody else thinks, right? Whatever. I'm just gonna, I'll just do it. I'll just invest in it when it's in 2016, when the next halving happens, for the third epoch. And it was, but how I comprehend, no clue, no idea how I kind of figured that. And it really pisses me off because I could have several hundred, if not several thousand Bitcoin, right? And be a Bitcoin OG, but we make mistakes. We're here. We live and learn from them. Yeah. And and we add our value where we can. So, again, I have no clue.
And we're stacking today.
Oh man, stack all the time. If you're not stacking, oh man, I feel bad for you.
I totally agree. So I noticed as I was like I was looking through your profile, I noticed that you have this website. Hold on a second. Let's get to it. It is Eden3dprinter.com.
Yes.
Okay, so I was looking at this. It looks like a project that you started, and
Yep.
it looks it. You'll have to explain the concept because there's a part of this that has to do with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So again, I really can't. I, even before Bitcoin, again, like I said, I've been printing money, um, just as a fun joke. But also, my mother, obviously told me, "Hey, you can't go and spend this." So we actually made our own family currency, and you'd trade and for chores or whatever. I don't know, early 2000s or something like that. So the whole reason why I started Eden was I wanted to add value in the same kind of process and mode of printing, but except instead of just doing it in 2 dimensions, let's actually add value in the Z axis. So the whole premise behind Eden is I want people to be able to manifest their own thoughts into things on the device, and we can prove that you own that design that you made. So if Coinicarus makes a cool looking cup design, you can go and share that with the marketplace, and if somebody wants to buy that from you, 100 sats, 1,000 sats, whatever it is, you don't have to sell it. We can prove that Coinicarus made that cup, and that is obviously tied to Bitcoin. I was initially thinking in the opportune section. I don't really want to blow that up. Looking at liquid, I don't really want to use a federated model. So still working out some tweaks to figure out how we can actually prove your ownership for any designs that you create. Because again, somebody can just go and take your design, obviously do a little tweak and call it, Bob's cup or something like that. What can you do about that? Nothing. But it's a machine for people to manifest their own thoughts and own their own designs. Period.
I really think that when I first took a look at it and I just kind of started to understand what it is that you did, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is the foundation for decentralized manufacturing.
Bingo.
Like that's really what's needed. If every single person can prove what part they printed and everything like that, then there's no reason why decentralized manufacturing can't take place.
And the beauty of it is, shout out to Crypto Cloaks too.
Yeah.
I started this in 2017. Yeah. Oh yeah. Love Rick like that. I started this in 2017. Actually, I'm sorry. I started this in 2016. But kind of like what a couple other people did. We said, fuck this shit. We're gonna leave our jobs. Bitcoin's at 20 grand. See ya. Yeah. So I actually initially started out as a green 3D printer, but just it failed. I had to tweak my idea and stuff. But being able to locally manufacture something and then therefore prove your ownership in that, you can provide an income, for yourself by providing value, to your local area, and then obviously have it, be in a circular economy like that. So the beauty of what I found with what Rick was talking about, I can't remember what his article wrote, but I know you saw it in the Telegram chat. I'm like, dude, I want to give you the biggest bro hug possible, because I felt so alone, as like being one of the very few people that are trying to blend Bitcoin and 3D printing, because how both complementary they are to each other. They're both open source. The IRC channels are just, red hot all the time on both RepRap and, all the Bitcoin core dev reviews and everything else in between. So for Eden, I find it so beautiful for people that have no concept about Bitcoin, but yet they love 3D printing. So unfortunately, when the day does come, they have a full Bitcoin node running Lightning, ready to go. All they have to do is actually use it, and they're ready to go. They can be a full self-sovereign individual. Same thing on the flip side, for people that are super in depth in the Bitcoin but have no clue about 3D printing, again, you can kind of blend in between and kind of fill those gaps for these people to say, hey, if you really want to start earning some sats, right? Don't go buy your Bitcoin, go and earn Bitcoin. Okay. Again, shout out to Swan Bitcoin and everybody. I know they're fantastic. But everybody pays a fee, right? When you buy Bitcoin, somewhere along the line, you're going to pay a fee. If you have the option to go and, if you choose, go and sell your designs, you can actually earn a small amount of sats and have it be some type of a residual income. Yep. So I just find it so beautiful to have these two mesh together. And I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of other industries that figure out a way to incorporate self-sovereignty into whatever industry, that they're in.
So is the Eden 3D printer, because I was looking at it and it seemed to me like it's either the printer itself or a device that you can maybe attach to any printer, because it would seem like maybe both of those would be desirable. Either you get like a whole setup, or you have this device that would go onto any 3D printer, and now all of a sudden you're part of this, decentralized, kind of network.
Yes. So we're actually working on a few projects explicitly like that. You either can have the full self-sovereign machine. You make your design on the machine, actually print on the machine, and then thus verify whoever either purchased or downloaded your design. Or again, we're working out some tweaks, but you can obviously upgrade your additional 3D printer to incorporate that as well. And again, it's really trying to blend the gap in between, so it becomes indistinguishable. And frankly, I built it for myself because I got so sick and tired of I bought a 3D printer like early 2016. I said, man, this thing just works like shit. I'm gonna go build my own. Well, that is a hell of a lot harder than I thought. From scratch, not from a kit, and from so for somebody to be able like myself to, instead of turning around and going design something on my laptop, flipping it over, I don't have a visualization of how it's going to look on the machine before it prints, right? And then so there's so many different aspects of allowing one single unit to manifest an entire thought into a thing without using several different components, going from my laptop, taking the SD card out, popping it in. So, it was just very frustrating for me, to turn and keep moving around. So, for me, I honestly, I just built it for myself, and, I got some videos coming out for it soon, for the whole entire workflow, and see what people think.
I love it.
Thanks, man.
I love it, man. I think it's genius. So
and again, I feel really far ahead of my time in that sense. Based on my experience like that. Again, I'm the one that printed all that, printed the counterfeit money. Okay, why am I still here, man? What value can I provide to the space and to our community? And I think this is one of those ways that I can do that. So I'm going to do this till I'm dead. I'm going to just keep rocking and rolling, man.
I think this is like some cypherpunk future shit. It's like I definitely agree. Like, the thinking of this is definitely ahead of our time, because we're not even there yet.
It did not come easy, I'll tell you that. It was, holy shit.
It takes extreme pressure to turn coal into a diamond. So
yes, it does.
It does. There's a reason for that, and human beings are no different.
And again, and don't think that I haven't failed. I failed many times. I told you my first iteration I failed. My second project failed. My third project failed. My fourth project failed, because I didn't really have the full idea formulated, and everything just kind of started clicking for me this year, where specifically for the Eden 1, the machine, it's a tesseract. the computer itself, the display is on the outside, and the actual manufacturing is done on the inside. So it's like a 4-dimensional cube. I had no fucking clue that that's what it was. Why weren't you building a Tesseract before? I guess it didn't hit me. Things come at the right time.
It didn't hit you until you had those previous failures. Like these
Yes.
previous iterations had to happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I definitely I agree. I really like it.
And again, shout out to Rick and Crypto Cloaks. I'm just during my iterations kind of pitching my idea to people, and they can't grasp, like, why do you even want to do Bitcoin? Why don't you build something on Ethereum? And like, do you fuckers realize you can't run an Ethereum full node? And then they don't even know why I want a full node. And so they're like, whoa, what are you building? I'm like, 3D printer. And they're like, oh, okay, well, what are you printing? I'm like, well, I'm actually building the machine. So they really didn't comprehend that. So I greatly appreciate what Rick and Crypto Cloaks are doing by actually giving the inspiration and the creativity for people to go and make those designs and then obviously ship them out. And I never wanted to do that because I knew in the 2D world that I got in trouble last time I was printing stuff. So why don't I just build the machine and let you print? So if I was probably printing, I'd probably be some type of an arms dealer or something like that, and I don't want to get into that. So let's not go down that path again, Max. Let's just give people the machine and let them build whatever they want.
Oh yeah, 3D printing guns is definitely interesting. That
yeah,
is...
God bless everybody that's doing it. It is wild. It is wild. I cannot wait to see what the next 10 years comes out.
It's insane. And the printers are getting way better, and now there's people printing in carbon fiber. So it's it's definitely going to get crazy.
Yes, it will. As it should during these crazy times.
Right?
Again, it is truly unbelievable of what is happening in the world. There's 40 million people unemployed. I mean, what do you do? Of course, there's going to be riot in the streets.
Oh my God.
At some time. So, I pray for all those people to stay safe. Protect your store, or why can't we protest in peace with Bitcoin?
Yep.
Right.
It truly is the silent revolution, and this is exactly what we keep harping on, right? The best way is to opt out.
Yes, that's the best way. Just starve the system.
That's it. Starve it for what it needs.
Yes.
It's a network effect. If it has no users, it's not a system. I don't see us necessarily getting to no users in the next little while, but to your point, we got to start starving it somewhere, right? We can't not starve it at all and then wonder why it never happens. So
I keep putting this off. Shout out to Max Hildebrand. I keep putting this off. I need to just leave the system. I have a couple businesses, obviously family has a couple businesses, but man, just leave the system. Start accepting Bitcoin. Don't accept the. I'm not gonna lie. I was like this close to closing out my bank, and I'm pretty sure I'll do it this week. Cross my fingers. I pray to God that I do. Because they're, the fees that they charge just for transacting, 2 to 3 days for transfer. It's just ridiculous. I can send a transfer, within a block, however long it takes to confirm a block. Hell, if we have a channel open, shit's instant. It's just, oh my God, it's just so frustrating. I hope we can all get the next wave of people in this epoch on, 10x, 1000x users like that. And we're going to be here supporting them.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna switch. We're gonna switch paths right now to talk about the Lightning Lodge, right? Like that was something that I think it was you and Joe that started talking about this. And
yeah, I have no clue how. So just for the listeners out there, I'm a Freemason, and again, no clue how you and I met. So I look at your Telegram, your group, and I'm like, God damn, we are in like every single group together. This is ridiculous. And and then same thing with Joe. I have no clue how I found Joe. Maybe I listened to you and him chat, and then kind of reached out because he was curious about Masonry of certain principles. And then obviously being a Mason, at our local lodge, I ran about 300 men actually last year as the youngest master in 201 years, I think, or so. So we were joking that I only come around once every couple centuries.
Oh, cool.
But that was an eye-opening experience. But just talking with Joe, kind of like he started to go into Masonry, moved away and didn't find a different lodge. So one day he just tweeted at me, "Hey, when is Lightning Lodge 21?" And I said, I guess today is the day. So I sat down for a couple hours and kind of made the website and designed it. I know you joined it. You're a member, you know. I greatly apologize. I've been doing too many other things and I haven't, put out any other content for it. But at the same token, I really don't know exactly what we all want it to become. So the whole premise about Freemasonry, and I know you and I have very briefly spoken on this before, but the premise is brotherly love, relief, and truth for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And really at the core of that, in kind of a sentence, is helping to improve yourself by helping others,
Mm-hmm.
Improve whatever they need help with, and then thus letting that reverberate out into your local and even farther community. So I'm not really sure how to kind of do that in a digital and distributed way, but we're definitely going to figure it out. Maybe some blog posts on Dig or on Medium for kind of sharing what some of the founding fathers would discuss, or other individuals that are members to actually say, hey, I'm looking for some help here. Any advice or any type of assistance, that you guys can help us out with, or, any ideas, and let everybody bounce off of each other and hopefully improve yourself, and let that reverberate all the way out. But that's really where I got it from. Just spurring it right off of, classic Freemasonry, and, let's utilize Bitcoin with it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I myself am not I'm not a Freemason, although I've been a member of, we'll say, an adjacent type of lodge, where it's essentially it was started by Freemasons, but instead of, let's say, like, Freemasonry is the material representation, right, of like godly acts on earth. We'll say, right?
Yes.
Making good men better, so to speak. Right, so
bingo. Yep.
So this type of lodge is more about the spiritual and mystical aspect of it, and about kind of like the betterment of your, we'll say your, like your spiritual aspect. So it's a little bit different, but it's the same type of concepts, right? You're still trying to become the better version of yourself, and you are still trying to create betterment in the world.
Yes.
So right away, I definitely got, I was right away attached to the idea of doing that, even for the Bitcoin community, and it would be the first of its type, So
yeah.
So once again, laying the foundation.
It's always usually not good to be first, because there's a lot of iterations to make, but somebody's got to do it, and check out LN. I think it's LN21 .co, I believe, or IO. That I have on there. I'll have to find it, and we'll put it in the show notes for you. I'll share it with you. And but yeah, again, it's just a community. We should probably just make a Telegram, or I know I have a Twitter, but more of a community for everybody to kind of talk and chat about how we can constantly improve ourselves, and then improve our local community. Because holy smokes, right now is the time that we need it. Again, this is just wild times we live in.
I just checked it right now. It is ln21.io.
That's what I thought. Perfect. Yep. Okay.
So I got that for the show notes. But yeah, it really is. And don't get me wrong, but it's like, traditional Freemasonry, and of course I love it, and I love all the symbolism and the philosophy that goes behind it. But it also
it's not digital enough yet. I mean, like, yes, there are some lodges online and stuff like that, but like, at some point, I think that this is like a natural progression to bring, the same way that Freemasonry works in today's society with our current incentive model, our current money, our current government, and whatnot. I think that there may be an iteration of Freemasonry that is going to work in a Bitcoin reality with a sound monetary policy.
Yes, and don't feel bad for thinking how slow Freemasonry is to adopt. Again, I'm not throwing Freemasonry under the bus here, but it is very unfortunate for how little activity that more specifically kind of our local area has kind of developed for the community involvement with Freemasonry. But I know it's global, so I got to find this stat. Thank you. Anybody listening that can find this, please share it. There's like a global Freemasonry statistic from all the Grand Lodges throughout the world. It was the first time, I believe it started in 1950. They kept track of all of the members, across, China, from South Africa to everywhere. And since that since they've begun tracking these statistics, they have been in perpetual decline since 1950. So kind of fast forwarding to today, there is zero accountability in the world. Nobody wants to take the blame for anything. So as a Freemason, I'm willing to take the shot. I'm willing to take the bullet for that. Whereas a Freemason, since we started in the modern form in England, where have we lost our way, and why has nobody taken accountability for the amount of good men that we are attempting to make better have lost its way and in just perpetual decline? It's too large of a problem for me to solve on my own. But I think, and talking with Joe actually on this too, I shared that stat with him, and it seems like as a Freemason, we're trying to be a part of the world today, okay? Where Joe really fired back at me and said, no, you need to continue to remain with your principles of what you've had for several hundred years now, and let the world come to you about honoring, and being a good neighbor, and having that brotherly love to help somebody else out. Don't let your values deteriorate just because the world is changing. Let the world go through its change, and then let them find its way back to self-ownership and accountability and taking care of your neighbor and really being the sound money of your community. That and when he said that, I go, damn, I don't know this dude, but man, he's right.
I like
that just hit right on the spot. So I'm sure there'll be a place for it sometime, somewhere. But yeah, people will, I hope, will come around and be more accountable for their actions.
I hope so too, and I think it is happening. It's just happening very slowly, and unfortunately, although people don't really want to accept it, it takes. Humans only tend to really change from misery. So, unfortunately, when everything is given to us and life is la-di-da, we're not just going to sit there and be like, hey, that's true, I just learned something. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. It takes bad things to happen to people in order for them to learn and to be able to start empathizing and whatnot and actually begin to change. So, and not only, so it is coming, but it's happening slowly. I wanted to add one thing about the Freemasonry, because I obviously looked into being a Freemason. I applied to a few lodges, but you need to already have a sponsor, and I didn't know anybody around here. So, and I didn't, it never worked out. I never pursued it. But one thing I did end up learning is that the median average age of a Freemason keeps going up because there's so few of them. So if I'm not mistaken, I think we're at the median age is 50 or 60. or something like that.
Oh yeah. It's
Which is terrible.
And that goes into, oh, it is. It is. I am. Me at 27 years old, I am an infant.
Oh yeah.
Compared to all the people, let alone running the organization last year at 25. I'm now the secretary because nobody else wanted to do the job. So trustee and all that other good stuff. So there's a bunch of there's a bunch of work placed on the younger generation, right?
Free work.
Because all the old guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of what all the guys don't want to do. But yeah, it is an interesting problem. That when you think of a Freemason, you think of somebody with gray hair, retired. You get dressed up in your suit and all that stuff. You go to lodge and all that. But there, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna make Freemasonry sexy somehow. That's for sure. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna make it happen because we gotta drop that age down, baby. We gotta lower it.
It already is sexy. It's just people don't know it yet. Okay, it's
exactly.
You know what it is? That there's not enough of an appreciation for mystic symbolism and how fucking cool it is. Okay, and what it actually means to us, like what every single one of these symbols truly means in the alchemical sense, in the spiritual sense. And I think that if people took the time to learn these, what these symbols mean and what they represent, I think that it would get cool again. I mean, so I guess like I'm probably not the best example, right? Because I'm a nerd, but I think it's fucking cool. So
Again, don't ask me. I ran the damn organization, so. Yeah, I'm not the guy to ask for that. Yeah.
So maybe we're not the best people to be discussing whether this is cool or not, but Yeah,
we're too deep into it. It's kind of like
it's not
when
fair.
Somebody asks you about, why is Bitcoin such fake internet money? You're like, I'm the wrong person to for you to talk about that. I'm gonna red pill you so fast your head's gonna spin.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
yes.
I actually love when people come at me with the, speaking of which, right? Like I love when people come at me with the argument of the fake money because they're using fake money. So
exactly.
So it's like you don't even know what you're using, and yet I'm using fake money.
Exactly. They have no clue that this dollar bill or that $100 bill in their pocket is just I don't know how much it costs to make. I looked it up one time. I don't know. It was like 2.5 cents, 3 pennies or something like that to make a $100 bill. That's probably wrong. Don't quote me on that. But again, come on. Are you kidding me? Yeah. They're just typing it on a computer. And then now with the banks today, this just really fucking pisses me off too, because I know bankers and even bankers don't know this. You lifted your 10% reserve, okay? During this COVID crisis.
Yeah.
You lifted your 10% reserve. That means that if Cornicorous chooses to go to a bank to get a loan for that new house, that $500,000 house that he wants, all that banker has to do is prove whatever they choose, what method they choose for that, prove that you're credit worthy to pay back, what is it, 1% or 2% for a mortgage now?
Mm-hmm.
To pay back that $500,000, to which, no problem, Cornicorous, you're accepted for this loan. Give me one moment. Type, click, enter. Now it's transferred over your bank account. That is fucking bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit. I hope the listeners can hear my passion on how pissed off that makes me feel, because it just came out of nowhere.
That's
and
right.
You didn't even add any value. I mean, fuck, get a little piece of paper or something like that. This is better. This is better than the, an actual, at least I could burn this and keep my house warm. Right. It's just, I'm so terrified that we're going to be entering, a hyperinflation, mode. Again, we have no clue when that starts, but all they got to do is type it on a key, and the money's transferred. It just pisses me off.
And not only that, right? But then you and I are going to go and we are going to work to pay back that loan. And don't get me wrong, but that money, right? That money doesn't exist yet that we are going to use to pay back that loan. I mean, yes, of course, it may seem that way because you're going to go to work, you're going to get a paycheck. But in the grand scheme of things, what people aren't paying attention to is that money that you are now going to pay that loan back with has to be printed. and that
Yes.
adds to everyone's inflation. It's such a mind fuck. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
It
I
truly
hope
is,
more
and it
people
makes no
wake up.
sense.
No, it doesn't. It makes zero sense.
And like, I think that's why the average person can't believe it, because they've been brainwashed to think that there's a sensical explanation for these things. You should have a sensical explanation. Well, if you can't explain it, then it makes no sense, and what you're saying is bullshit. It's like, no, but you don't understand. They created something that made no sense, and then put together a fortress around it that like you can't get through all the doors, you know?
And then again, what happened? I don't know who it was. Shout out to TFTC and Maddie and Marty over there. I don't know what it was. Somebody on there that said, I can't remember who they were interviewing, but somebody was saying, like, what will happen when the people guarding those government establishments wake up and say, hey, this money is not real. Why don't you just pay me in Bitcoin, right? Oh my God. That's, you want to talk about a tipping point. The guy with the gun now wants to get paid in sound money, not your fake shit, right?
That's right.
You want to talk about the fortress falling down. There's your tipping point.
That's right.
Just wild.
It really is. It is totally wild. And anytime you go and explain this to people, depending on the person, it is just, you either sound like a crackpot or you're just trying to sell them Bitcoin. You know? And it's like, no, we've actually, go and do the research. This is all publicly available information.
Yes.
So, dude, it's been really cool talking to you, man. But I wanted to. There was something else though that we wanted to discuss. The dollar 1 sat parity.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I left this for the cosmic section for you because I'm always down to get cosmic and all that stuff. Talking with our people in our Bitcoin meetup group in our area, it's probably, I hope it does not happen in this way, but I think exactly kind of going in line with that discussion where you would have your authority figures start to accept Bitcoin as payment and not the dirty fiat to which they're protecting. I think the government is going to be forced to go back to a Bitcoin standard, go back to a some type of a financial standard where they would price fix, obviously, an ounce of gold, to what you could redeem that as. I think the last time it was at $35 an ounce. I can't recall before it started to devalue back. But even before FDR's time and stuff, I can't recall exactly what the parity is. But I think maybe not the next one, but maybe the administration after that, I think they're going to force peg $1 to 1 Satoshi parity. Yep. And I think it's going to be a forced action because their money is going to be worthless. I'll say, because I tweeted it too. I think it's going to be Kanye West as president. I don't know how that fucker is going to get into office, but I really think he's going to do it. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I think that's going to be the guy that's going to do a dollar sat parity. And I don't know what that means, though. It could be detrimental to us, because then they would come after us to say, hey, we know that you hold the keys, give us your Bitcoin, right? That could be a real big problem. Obviously, going into the whole 6102, executive order, I think a lot of us Bitcoiners are kind of preparing for something like that.
Oh yeah.
Hold your own keys, put it in a multi-sig, go down the whole list, right? Distribute that accordingly. But it doesn't really matter who the next administrator is. I think I think you will be forced to do some type of a parity because it's going to be a race to the top. Some central bank is going to pop out of nowhere and they're going to say, we have now been accumulating Bitcoin.
Yep.
Because we feel that that's the strongest money that we have. Gold has these problems, blah, blah, blah. It'll probably be somebody small,
yep.
That would do it. But
Somebody that
you know,
needs it really badly.
Yes. And I think it's just going to get pushed on, and everybody's going to say, "Holy shit, we gotta get moving."
Yep.
And I think somebody's going to just drop the dime on there and say, "All right, it's going to be, you know, it'll creep up to it, I think, but they'll start at, you know, $1 to, a million sats, or, you know, whatever the parity is." But I think it will be a price fixing measurement, and I hope us Bitcoiners have some type of a lock on all of our coins, right?
Yep.
So they don't confiscate it from us.
That's right. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
They can't
They
confiscate.
can't take it.
They can't.
Coin Icarus, they can't stop us.
Nope.
They can't stop us, dude. They can't stop us.
I totally agree. And this is what people don't get, you know?
Yeah.
This is what people really don't get, you know? So.
And I want to add something too. I know we need to get going, but shout out to all the Bitcoin core developers.
Yep.
Right now. You guys, again, specifically, shout out to, again, I know I'm screwing up your name. You are my dude. Thank you so much. Hadani Stefanov, in Ukraine. You know, man, you are rock and rolling. Thank you, man, for everything that you do. But again, if you can, go out and find a Bitcoin core developer and just ask them for whatever they need help on. If you can give them some money or something to go and work on Bitcoin, these are the guys on the front lines that are securing your Bitcoin at the base layer. God forbid we get a bug somewhere in the code and somebody overlooks it, like the inflation bug, wherever it's at.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that are going to fix that and find it. So shout out to all the core devs. Go and support a dev, please.
Cool. I like that. All right, my friend. It's been absolutely great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
No problem, man.
It's really. I hope we do it again soon.
Oh yes. I will keep you up to date. I got a gift for you too that we'll add as well. So.
Oh wow! Crazy.
This was one of the shirts that I made for my year, and how fitting is it for? So let me know what your size is, but it's the Masonic symbols.
Oh yeah.
Of obviously it's backwards in the video, but it basically spells lead.
Yep.
But it's but you can't see that obviously because it's based on the Masonic symbols and principles there. So let me know what your size is. I'll send you one, man.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. That's awesome.
No problem, man. No problem. Well, hey, thank you so much for having me on. I had to share my story in these crazy times and everything that we're working on. So I hope we do this again, 6 months to a year, and we'll follow up.
Cool, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Cheers.
Take care.
Hope you guys liked my chat with Max. I definitely had a mind-blowing conversation. Details will be in the show notes, of course, as always. If you want to contact Max on Twitter. If you want to reach me on Twitter or Telegram, I am at CoinIcarus. If you want to shoot me an email, I am coinicarus@funwithbitcoin.com. Thank you all for listening. Catch you all next time.